store, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Oh, how much of a difference a week can make. But that's the way it goes with Star Wars news. And at least this week's episode of The Bad Batch was a little stunning. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. A little shocked. Huh?
Shocked? Yeah.
Anyone who paid attention last week kind of probably would get the joke a little bit, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But first up, how about a little book of Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
Tim Morrison was speaking with the Express newspaper in the UK. He didn't say a lot.
Well, he says right up front, Yep. Yeah, you know the rules. Can't talk
so
about
do
nothing.
I.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yep. So he can say nothing. That's what he said.
That's right. You can say nothing. Exactly.
But he did say a little something, I guess, right?
A little bit, yeah. So he okay, go ahead.
You go ahead. No, you do it. You take it.
Right on. Okay. So when asked about what he could talk about, he says, it's in the timeline of The Mandalorian. So I guess we got to go back and see. Which piqued my interest. It's like, okay. He says, it's a duo thing. We got Ming-Na Wen in there. She's playing the Master Assassin, Fennec Shan. And he goes on, we've got to look at the timeline. We got to look at where Boba has been. We got to keep the fans happy. I like how he puts that. It's like, it's clear that we have to make the fans happy. They want to know what happened with Boba Fett. He says, Jon Favreau has come up with some magical formulas. We've got great directors on board. Robert Rodriguez, Favreau, Bryce Dallas Howard, Dave Filoni. That was a little bit of something there. Because last I knew, this was all Robert Rodriguez, right? So, but.
Yeah, I was shocked at that too, because I thought Robert Rodriguez was directing the whole thing.
Exactly.
And then they're like, Favreau, Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard. And Filoni?
Right.
So
sounds to me like this super crew of creatives they put together from The Mandalorian are kind of like a lot of them are staying together as a group here to move on with these other projects. I kind of like it,
before we get too far, I want to say one more thing, but I want to kind of circle back a little bit before we get too far ahead.
Sure.
I do want to say it is kind of funny. He keeps talking about Jon Favreau in this. And remember back when Jon Favreau was like lobbying to get a Boba Fett movie?
Oh, I know. Yes.
Like he wanted Boba Fett, and then he just straight up weaseled his way into this thing.
Oh, yeah. It just
goes
to
me
show.
The Mandalorian.
It just goes to show he had an idea. And he knew it was a good idea. Yep. And he's going to make it happen.
That's what we know about Boba Fett, huh? Okay, we'll see.
Right.
Oh, great. You'll let me do The Mandalorian. Good. Yep. And look where we are.
Yes. So it seems pretty clear to me from the way he's talking here. We're gonna be seeing flashbacks.
Yes.
So
it's all about the timeline.
Right. So, flashback, yes. Probably see how Boba Fett escapes the Sarlacc. What's he been up to in the meantime? Since we saw him in The Mandalorian, between Jedi and The Mandalorian. So I don't know how down in Luigi you think we're going to get into all that, because I'm just as curious about where he's going from here. You know, he's sitting on the throne at Jabba's palace now, and you know, it's like, what could happen from there? That's interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're gonna go too crazy with backstory. I think this will be focused on him and Fennec and what they're doing now.
Okay.
As far as where they're going, I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't think any of us know, but I mean, that's part of what intrigues me, right?
Oh yeah, and that's probably the best part, is we just have no idea where it's gonna go. Because, I mean, obviously they're gonna set up some sort of. It's gonna be a bounty hunter game, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna be. I mean, in all honesty, what we were expecting to see with the Mandalorian,
right?
Which is just, you know, bounty hunters being bounty hunters.
Yeah, we started to go there with the Mandalorian. You know, we saw the guild and all that kind of stuff, but that kind of fell apart quick. So,
which I feel like that show is going to circle back as well.
Yeah, well,
going into season 3,
right?
Because I mean, what else is he going to do?
Well, there's a lot of places that could go, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, interesting to me that we're going to see backstories, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
at least that backstory, I'm sure. And, you know, again, interested to see where it goes. The fact that we have that crew working on this series, you know, gives me all the confidence in the world that, you know, we're going to have some good Star Wars. I mean, no other way to put it. It's like, okay, you know, Mandalorian's been awesome. I you know, these guys are going to spare no expense with this, and, you know, the talent they have there for this project is fabulous as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they can't go here and just coast.
Oh, no. No, not at all.
All right.
So, yeah, good stuff.
Yes, good stuff. Good stuff. So we kind of talked a little bit about season 3 of The Mandalorian already.
Right. Yeah.
But Brendan Wayne got into what's in the works for season 3.
Right. Yes. So Brendan Wayne, who's he talking to here? Comicbook.com. In regards to season 3, he says, I think we've introduced the world in which Mando exists now. Not that there aren't going to be new things, I'm sure. I think there will be lots less introductions and a lot more going back towards the first season of delving deeper into the character and things like that, I think. He says, have I read one script? No. But I can tell you this. If anyone's going to be able to continue telling a story, it's Jon Favreau. And raising the stakes is Jon. So.
I love that. Do I know anything for sure? Hell no.
Right.
Oh no, I'm just speculating here.
Right. Oh,
I mean, when I saw this,
I gotta say,
kind of like,
hold on. I skipped over a line as I was reading. Because he says, have I read one script? No. Have I heard some things? Sure. So I'm guessing. And then he goes on.
I've heard things, dude. Come on. Like,
yeah, but okay. That doesn't matter. He's more in the know than we are. Come on.
Is he even in this season?
Huh?
Is he even in this season?
What season?
Season 3.
I believe so.
Because, I mean, he was just, you know, Mandalorian soldier or whatever in the background. Like,
Brendan Wayne?
yeah.
No, he is the firearms stunt double for Mando. So he puts on the Mando suit and does all the shooty type stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, learn that in Disney Gallery.
So they didn't credit him for any of that.
Right, because all the acting Pedro does.
Yeah,
And then-
because like I think he's actually credited for one episode.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so he is the quote unquote firearms guy for Mando. So there's Pedro, who does the acting, right?
Right.
And then you have, I forget the other guy's name, who does all the martial arts stuff. And then Brendan Wayne, grandson of John, does all the firearm stuff.
He's the gunslinger.
Yep.
Oh, appropriate.
That's very appropriate, isn't it? So yeah, that's where he's coming from. He's, to make this character, it basically takes these three guys, and, with as action packed as the show has been, you kind of understand it,
Yeah.
So it's possible that he could have a little bit of inside knowledge. I mean, I'm sure there's been some discussions, where the show's going to be going and what's going to be happening. At least a direction. Which, if what he's saying is true, it really kind of makes sense to me that, okay, Grogu's with Luke now, so now we get to focus on the Mandalorian again. He talks about going back towards kind of the way things were starting off in season 1. Not so many introductions. Cool. That's because that was kind of a little complaint, I guess you could say, about season 2, right? Is every week it was like, okay, new character of the week, right? But
So what? So we're going back to season 1. So we're gonna kick off season 3. He's gonna find a baby Dathomirian.
no. What I think is going to happen is we're going to learn a lot more about the Mandalorian himself, right? About Mando. His history and where they go from here. Because if you recall, we were left in a spot where there was this, we'll just call it a confusing thing where
Darksaber.
Bo-Katan couldn't take the Darksaber from him. He's like, no, really, here. She's like, I can't, gotta kill you, So
How this works.
yeah. Except, yeah, I took it from Sabine, but that was different. So,
You only get one freebie.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, she didn't lose it. I guess once you get defeated and it's taken from you, you have to win it back.
Maybe, but
You can take these for the first time.
yeah, but what I don't get about that is who'd she lose it to? My guess would be Gideon, right? Moff Gideon. But
Which means
okay, so Mando took it from him, but it's like, here, you can have it. And she's like, can't. I don't know. I think that's going to go deeper. I think that's going to turn into a thing, and we're going to have some Mandalorian v Mandalorian showdown here. So I think it's going to get complicated and sticky, especially with the whole, Bo-Katan is from the Mandalorian school of helmet, no helmet, right? And hopefully we get to see the armorer again, and we can delve deeper into this whole, got to keep your helmet on religion,
right. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I just think they have plenty of space to play in all that area right there in season 3. And I think if they do it in a way that kind of harkens back to the way things were being established in season 1, kind of makes sense, and there's plenty of people to call back to, you know, uh, uh, you know, Grief Karga, you know,
Right.
the blue guy. I don't know. But you know what I mean? It's like, I just think that'll be interesting. And, you know, hopefully eventually we get to see Grogu again, maybe with Luke, but I'm not going to count on,
ship sailed.
I'm not going to count on that right away. I think that's if we see something like that again, I think it's going to be another big payoff. And
so my next question then is, since we're seeing this going back to season 1 thing, like there'll be a lot less introductions. Okay. I don't know that season 1 where there was a ton of introduction. I mean, there were introductions, but that's just because they were establishing this universe.
right.
I don't see those as intrusive because it's just him on his travels.
Right.
Whereas season 2, the introductions were kind of intrusive, right? They were Ahsoka Tano, you know, Bo-Katan, Luke Skywalker.
Right.
Those are intrusive introductions because they're big established characters.
Yeah.
Albeit some of them were crossovers from animation, but they're still big, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Season 1 didn't have a ton of that. The big introduction from season 1 was Grogu.
For sure.
No. There was no Boba Fett. There was no so Grogu was the big introduction. So, if there's still going to be introductions,
No, he said there's not going to be as much.
right,
Of that kind of thing.
But
That's I guess what he's saying is we have enough of the play set here to play around with. You know, we don't have to bring any more in at this point.
all right. So my big question then is, do we see Ahsoka Tano again? Do we see what we were assuming was this series was heading towards setting up? Do we see Thrawn?
My guess is we're not going to see Thrawn until Ahsoka comes out.
Okay.
That's my guess, because Thrawn in The Mandalorian just doesn't make as much sense to me. The one person I could imagine seeing introduced, you know, to quote him, in season 3 would be possibly Sabine Wren.
Yeah.
Only because Mandalorian ties.
Mandalorian ties and her ties to Ahsoka
Right.
because of their search.
That would be the way to bring Ahsoka back into the show and kind of maybe, you know, Ahsoka's been introduced in live action now, and, you know, maybe an episode in season 3 will be the launching pad for the Ahsoka show. Because I got a feeling Sabine Wren, if that comes to fruition in season 3, is going to be kind of like a cameo and then off with Ahsoka, you know?
Right. We'll see how that goes, because we thought Sabine Wren was a slam dunk for season 2.
Yeah, we did.
I thought without a doubt Sasha Banks was playing Sabine Wren.
Yeah, me too.
But, yep, turned out not to be.
But
All right.
all that's going to be a little while, though, because, you know, they've yet to start shooting that season 3. So,
Right. All right. Patty Jenkins. We talked about Patty Jenkins last week.
we did,
Not a whole lot here to expand on, but a little.
right?
A little. So she was talking with THR, right?
Hollywood Reporter.
Hollywood Reporter.
Yep.
About Rogue Squadron, and she was asked how development was going,
Yeah.
and she said it's going amazing. I had been on it already for 6 months before I even announced that, so we're pretty deep into it. We're finishing a script. This This was big. Finishing a script.
Right.
Crewing up, and it's all going wonderful. So they're at that point. Script's pretty much done.
Yep.
And they're starting to get their crew together.
Yeah, that's cool.
See, was there anything else in here that was really...
So again, okay. So after that, she says, "I'm so excited about the story and excited that we're the next chapter of Star Wars, which is such a responsibility and such an opportunity to really start some new things. It's really exciting in that way." Again, she touches on the responsibility thing.
Right.
I like that she is looking at it that way. You know, she understands that it's a big deal, right? Which is good. The other part was asking about the process of working with the Star Wars Brain Trust.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I do like that one note in there. Like, it's an entirely different way of working.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, she says, "I'm on the phone with all of them and doing Zoom meetings with everybody involved in Star Wars all the time. I'm fairly free to do the story that we want to do, but you really need to know who's done what, who's doing what, where it goes, and how it works, and what designs have been done before. It's a whole other way of working that I'm getting up to speed on." And again, that sort of thing just goes along with working in Star Wars, because that's just the way Star Wars has been, right? It's you know, it's the whole canon thing, and any idea, you know, I don't know, we've beat this drum over and over, but you know, making sure you have things like, you know, Wedge Antilles as an instructor and blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My thing here, my takeaway here is this is relatively a new thing.
What's that?
For Disney Star Wars, I mean, you really need to know who's done what, who's doing what, where it goes, and how it works. This is new. They've started doing new things. They're talking.
Oh, well. Well, I mean, it all depends on how you look at that. I mean, you know, the Brain Trust, I'm going to assume is the story group, right?
I thought they disbanded the story group.
Well, I don't know.
So the story group was just like a, you know, now they got their, you know, room of writers when they're doing a set of novels or something.
Well, I mean, you have people at Lucasfilm who I'm sure it is their job to make sure that what the story you're trying to tell isn't going to conflict with, you know, the prior canon. You know,
Yeah, I mean, you would think.
the canon that this other guy's working on, you
You
know,
would think.
all of that kind of stuff. So, and I'm assuming that, you know, a lot of these Zoom calls and stuff, you know, you probably have Jon Favreau in on and Dave Filoni in on, you know, at least to some degree. You know, it's just the broad outline stuff, you know. And I got a feeling that, you know, this story of Rogue Squadron, it's not going to be stepping on the toes of too many other storylines, you know.
Right, which is amazing to me that this is happening here.
Oh, right, I know.
And obviously wasn't happening when they were doing a damn trilogy.
You're right. A trilogy, or yeah, the whole, each sequel independently. Yeah, it's
Yeah. That's where I was getting at with this whole thing. Like, this is new.
yeah, I get it.
Because, damn.
Well,
Like, I don't even think they sent an email with the other shit.
here's the thing. I think you had one guy who wanted to start a trilogy, and you know, I'm just going to tee everything up here.
And then the next guy was, no, I wanted to start it.
The next guy was like, I wanted to start it. and end it. But, you know, all in one movie. But as I understand it, Johnson relied a lot on the story group. Like, you know, and the thing is, you're going to have people coming into Star Wars, working on Star Wars, who don't have that encyclopedic knowledge, you know? We went back and forth about how the pros and cons of that past couple weeks, and, you know, you have to have somebody at Lucasfilm who does have that encyclopedic knowledge. And I'm not saying they you know, it almost sounded to me like during Johnson's project, it was like they were hand in hand, you know, like Johnson was at Skywalker Ranch tapping into story group every day as he's writing. So I don't think.
But they didn't have the Force Awakens script at all. Like,
yeah, but
that's my point here. Like,
I get it. I totally get it. I think that right there is just a you know, two creative minds with two creative paths right there.
Right. I get it. It's kind of funny. Here I am being a curmudgeon about this.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
When we were talking about the Acolyte, I'm like, no, I like the idea of new.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't have to know about Star Wars to make Star Wars. What? Yeah. But that's, you know.
Have turned. Well, I mean, I was all for what she's talking about right here. You know, you're making sure everything lines up, right?
Right.
You want to make sure everything lines up.
Yes.
I'm all for new, though. I'm all for new ideas, different outlooks, right?
Yep.
All about that, because we don't want to just hammer the same thing all the time. You know, that's not what George was about. George didn't want to hammer the same thing all the time.
Right.
So going forward, it shouldn't be like that either, but it should line up.
Yes, it should definitely line up. Yeah.
So as long as you have the pieces in place to make sure everything fits, you're good, right?
Yeah, you should be, for sure. I will say, you know, the one place I'm, you know, this is going back to the other story, right? But, and this one I kind of lay at the feet of Dave Filoni a little bit, is the whole Darksaber thing, right? Because that's one place where it's kind of like, you know, you do remember what you did back there, right? And I'm sure, knowing Dave, it's all going to make sense as things move forward. But, you know,
like I said, you get one freezies, dude. If you lose it, you got to earn it back.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Sounds to me like things are moving forward nicely for this movie, and she's got the right attitude about it. You know, I love it. And interesting to note that she says this is a different kind of way of working. You know, she says she has the freedom to pretty much make what I want to make. You know, I'm sure there was some things where I said, whoa. Might not be able to go that route with that, because, you know, this happened in the past or that or whatever. And, you know, but overall, liking what I'm hearing.
Right. All right. So we're gonna step into one of my passions here for a moment, and one of Doug's passions too, but, so Star Wars video gaming, right?
Ah, yes.
Doug, you remember when I ran over to you like, dude, check this out.
Oh, yes.
The first trailer for Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yes. I do remember this.
Can you believe that was almost 10 years ago?
Oh my God, no. No. When I found that out, I was shocked. Yeah.
Almost 10 years. So the Old Republic is going to be celebrating its 10th birthday.
That's insane to me. But okay, cool.
And with it, they decided they're going to have another expansion.
Nice.
And this one is roping me back in. Okay, so 10 years ago, I started playing this game. Almost 10 years ago. And I probably played it for the first 3 years religiously.
Nice.
Religiously. I couldn't stop playing this game. Then I fell off, and then I fell off a little more and a little more, and now I just dabble for a week or two a year.
Okay.
But this one's roping me right back in, because the next expansion is Star Wars: The Old Republic, Legacy of the Sith.
Ooh, okay.
So I saw that, I was like, ooh, that's instant clickbait.
Yep. Right.
They haven't really released a lot what's happening here. But they did say Legacy of the Sith will continue the game's storyline, sending players on a military campaign to secure the aquatic planet Manaan for their faction as they uncover the ultimate plan of Darth Malgus.
Oh.
So Darth Malgus, going all the way back to the beginning, he was the one in that first Deceived trailer, right?
Right. Interesting.
You know, and I'm not even 100% up to par with the Darth Malgus story. All I know is he kind of went renegade, right?
Right.
Completely like lost it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happened in the interim since then. That was like 5 years ago.
Wow. Interesting. So you have to forgive me because I never really got the chance to get into this game. So, I mean, could you play as a Sith before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You could play as a Sith warrior, or if you liked a little more of the, the idea of doing more like Force lightning, things like that, you could be a Sith Inquisitor.
Okay.
So a Sith Inquisitor was like the spellcaster version of a Sith.
Okay.
Whereas a Sith warrior was, get your lightsaber out and
right.
bash shit.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, you could play as a Jedi or a Sith depending on which faction you were in. I did play, but they were my alts.
Okay, gotcha.
I never played a main as a Jedi or Sith. They were always my alt. I played a bounty hunter as my main.
Okay.
So that was Sith Empire. Because you got the two factions.
Okay, gotcha.
You got the Republic and the Sith Empire.
Right.
And bounty hunters were with the Sith Empire. The mirror to that on the other side, if you were playing on the Republic, the identical character to, not identical, but similar character to a bounty hunter would be the smuggler.
I see. Okay.
And then you had like, was it Imperial Commando or Imperial Agent? I think it is.
Imperial Agent?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you had like Republic Commando. And I can't even remember all the classes.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, each class had their own little thing about them.
So for this expansion, you definitely want to play as a Sith, though. I'm assuming.
I mean, I'm not even sure that you necessarily have to play a Sith. But you're going to get a lot of Sith-like story along the way. I'm assuming you're going to get that even if you're playing on the Republic side.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's going to expand that story. You're going to kind of see what's going on with the Sith in this expansion.
Right.
Just from one point of view, you're going to be fighting against it. The other point of view, you're going to be fighting for it.
Cool.
I'm sure there will be some sweetness if you're playing a Sith proper.
Sweetness.
Yeah, just added bonus, right? Like
Yeah. Okay.
a little sweetening, a little added lore or something.
Gotcha. Well,
But they
cool.
don't typically, since it's an MMO, they don't typically limit the overarching story based on what faction you're playing or what class you're playing. It's not really limited in that way. You get the overarching story no matter what.
Okay.
Just it gets a little sweetened based on where you're playing. So if you're opposed to it, it'll get a little sweetened from the opposition point of view, right?
Right.
And if you're for it and playing a Sith, I'm sure it would have its own element to it, and you would feel a little more involved.
Gotcha.
So,
Cool.
yeah,
Sounds like fun.
sounds like a great time. Finally roping me back in after, probably I mean, not really a hiatus, because you can't really call it a hiatus if you log on at least once a year.
Right.
But this one's probably going to rope me back in for at least a few months.
Sweet.
I just play too many other damn games
Yeah.
with no time at that, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my problem. Yeah, too much family stuff, which
Right.
is not a bad thing. So
All right. So one other quick thing before we take our break and then head into the Bad Batch. Zack Snyder. We talked about Zack Snyder probably a few weeks ago, right?
yes, we did.
And he pitched a Star Wars film a while back.
Yeah, almost 10 years ago.
Hey,
now.
look, 10 years ago.
Yep.
So right about the time The Old Republic was coming out, Zack
Uh-huh.
Snyder's like, I got an idea.
Exactly. He pitched the idea, and George's like, "Nope, selling. That's it.
Yep.
Selling the whole thing.
I'm out.
Retired."
Well, no, he would have already been out, right? Or was it right before?
I think he pitched it right before.
Oh, yeah. So 2012 was when they
Yeah,
sold.
It's when they
Disney.
sold. Yep. And then, any thoughts of, this moving forward with Disney were just kind of like pushed to the wayside.
Yeah, it took a detour.
Yes. Yes, it did.
I'm full of it tonight.
You are.
But anyway, he's taking those ideas and he's gonna release his own epic sci-fi fantasy
Ooh,
called,
excellent.
you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready. I can't wait.
Called Rebel Moon.
That's no moon.
Definitely not a new moon. Oh, I
Right.
did it again.
Oh, okay. Rebel Moon. Oh, I guess there's no trademark on Rebel.
Or moon.
Or Moon. Okay.
So Rebel Moon, I'm like, oh wow, that's derivative.
Right.
No, but okay. So then there are little details here. So the story is set in motion when a peaceful colony on the edge of the galaxy is threatened by the armies of a tyrannical regent named Belisarius. Desperate people dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them make a stand. So, like an alliance.
Kinda, yeah. Wow. I wonder what that woman's name's gonna be. Like, I don't know.
Lori?
No. I was gonna say like a Zuki Starflyer. Yeah, something like that.
Jaina Solo.
Oh God.
No. It wouldn't be Jaina Solo. No, he'd roll with something George Lucas was never going to do. He's going to name her Mara Jade.
Right, exactly. Oh, yeah. I don't know. This is sounding an awful lot to me like this is my Star Wars idea. Okay, didn't get turned into a Star Wars thing. Let's just change all the names, and it'll be a different thing, an epic different thing. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Love what Zack Snyder's done, but man, this is sounding an awful lot like Star Wars knockoff.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it definitely does sound like a Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hopefully, this is going to be for Netflix, right? So
is that what it's?
I think so. So hopefully,
yes,
it's worthwhile. It's a good story. I'm hoping we're not seeing too much Star Wars type influence into it, to where it's like, yep, you can tell this was trying to be Star Wars, but it's not, and something like that. But hopefully it's good enough to where it stands on its own. I guess, he's done a lot of good stuff in the past. I'd like to see that continue. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm obviously not rooting against him,
right?
But
yeah,
I saw Rebel Moon. I'm like,
yeah. Let's just if we're gonna take a story that was originally intended to be a quote unquote Star Wars story, let's make sure we make some major changes to it. I guess,
Yeah, and hopefully it's not the black hole, right? Like,
yeah. Hopefully it's good and stands on its own. Because he did say that he hopes this ends up being like the next big franchise thing, right? So
yeah.
So
hey,
yeah, it's clearly epic in his mind already, right?
it could end up being sweet.
It could, yeah.
Could end up being sweet, and I'll just look like a jackass.
Well, I mean, with everything that we've seen so far, Rebel Moon, Alliance of Planets on the Edge of the Galaxy.
Yep.
I think we have every.
But we make fun, but we got to keep in mind that this did originate as a Star Wars pitch.
Sure.
So,
just so long as it, if it's not going to be Star Wars, it's not reminding you of Star Wars the whole time, right?
Right.
We like other franchises. There's no issue there.
Right. At least they're not calling it Star Wars: The Snyder Cut. Like,
right. That's funny. Yes. But I don't know. Hey, when it comes out, I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, I'll watch it. Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, it's that time. Time to talk the Bad Batch.
And what a good time it is.
It's a good time. It's a good time. It's always a good time.
Right.
This show is fantastic.
It is.
So we're talking season 1, episode 10, Common Ground.
Yeah. Yeah, this show went a little bit different direction than I was originally expecting it to. With that title, I saw the title. I thought, okay, here's where we have, these guys are going to strike a deal with Fennec Shand or something like that. And it had nothing to do with that. So, okay.
No, instead they found common ground between some agents of the Republic and agents of the Separatists.
Right. This is one thing that Star Wars does really well, in my opinion. This is it's that line from the crawl from Sith, right? It's heroes on both sides. Huh?
Oh, no.
What'd you say?
You said the line from Sith. I was like, war.
Oh, right. Yes. That's a word.
It's also a line.
Yeah, true. Exclamation point.
Yes.
But yeah,
I know my grammar, damn it.
There are heroes on both sides. So this is highlighting that, in my opinion, and also interesting, something that I guess inherently, but you don't really think about it up front until it's kind of pointed out here that, you had the Republic, which, for everyone's security is turned into the first galactic empire, right?
Right.
It's all those separatist systems that didn't like what the Republic was doing are probably looking at the Empire now going, well, we didn't like that. Now we really don't like this.
Yeah, like kind of what did we do?
Well, so of course, the Empire being what it is going to crack down hardest on those systems to begin with. So, it's something, I guess, like I said, you kind of know it inherently, but you don't really think deeply about it until it's kind of pointed out here,
I mean, it's kind of odd that they'll crack down on those systems the hardest, though, because if it wasn't for those systems, the Emperor wouldn't have been able to do what he did. He needed those systems.
Well, that was all part of his plan, yeah. But even the leaders of those systems didn't realize what they were playing into.
Like, they didn't even fight in a war.
I know. They bought a bunch of robots.
Yeah, they just funded a robot army.
Right. But
like, you're going to crack down on a population that didn't do anything?
But what they were, in my guesstimation here, is probably more of what you would call free thinkers, right?
I can't have that.
Exactly. You can't have that.
Not if you're going to have an effective empire.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, if the Republic was bad, wow, this is worse. So,
like, oh, you have a different opinion.
Yes. Yeah. This is an empire. We make your opinions for you.
Yes. If I wanted your opinion, I'd give it to you.
Exactly. So, we see Senator Singh can't fall in line and gets arrested for it. So this also harkens back to episode 4. The Emperor's dissolved the Senate. It's like he was probably getting a little bit too much pushback from senators like this, and it's like, okay, the regional governors will maintain control. We'll keep them in line with fear of this Death Star. Yeah.
Now, was he a Republic senator?
I don't think so, but under the Empire was brought in as a senator in the Empire.
Okay.
Because this was the center of the
I mean, I don't know, like, because obviously there were senators that were in the Republic Senate before they became separatists.
Right.
I didn't know if he was one of those.
But then they, when they joined the separatist movement, they had senators as well.
Right.
Right. So, because this is where, if you remember back to the Clone Wars, this is, had Ahsoka and Padme sneak onto this planet to talk with one of those senators, and that's where Ahsoka met Lux, and all that shenanigans went on. Right. So, but I, like I said, this is one thing Star Wars does well, and if you have someone like Filoni involved, it's clear that they're doing a good job at making this point. Like, who was your enemy yesterday is now your friend. So,
right.
It's kind of cool that way, the way that works out.
Agreed.
So, overall, in the grand scheme of things, I got to say there wasn't a whole bunch to be, that whole plot line was cool. I loved it. There was a lot of action to this episode.
Yes.
A lot of running and gunning, in a lot of ways.
A lot of running and stunning.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. You mentioned that, didn't you? This is true. So I gotta ask, what's with that? I mean, I don't know. It's doesn't seem to be the most effective way to make your way through this whole ordeal, does it? I mean,
well, I can think of a couple things, right?
Sure.
From their perspective. One, if they went killing a bunch, the heat that's on them would get even hotter. Okay. You're going to draw even more attention.
Yep.
Especially with how effective they are.
Okay.
Because let's just say if they were racking up kill count right here,
yeah,
they would have racked up some kill count.
True statement.
So the heat would intensify.
Here's my only pushback on that. It'd be a bunch of clones, which the Empire would consider disposable.
The Empire or Tarkin?
Both. Tarkin's already trying to do away with the clones.
Yes, but I don't know if the Empire itself is on board yet. I think he's lobbying to get rid of the clones.
I see what you're saying.
So
I think...
I don't think Palps is convinced yet, right?
Well, I think he's using what he has at his disposal at the moment.
Right. Well, for sure.
And is always looking to the future of, okay, what's the next step? Okay, next step is a conscripted army. Let's move that forward. Clearly they're moving that forward with the training that Crosshair is doing.
Right.
But
well, then next angle.
Yeah.
It's their brothers.
Sure.
They have a certain affection for them. They don't want to just, kill their brothers, right?
Yep.
They're linked.
Right.
So it is just a mindset on their part that unnecessary, I'm sure if it came down to it, us or them, sure. But in those situations, they're good enough that they don't feel they have to. They can just stun and not unnecessarily kill, their fellow clones.
Sure. I get it. They've got the inhibitor chip. They know not what they do.
Right.
And one day we'll figure out how to get that turned off on them. Yeah, it's early enough on in the, post Clone War that you could see them thinking that way. The Bad Batch thinking that way.
Right.
So I understand that. But I don't know. It's a little, I don't know. It's a little weird to me because it just doesn't seem like the most effective way to get these jobs done, right? They're getting it done, but I don't know. It seems odd for Star Wars. How many stun weapons did we see, like, way back? You know, let's say the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy. There's one I can think of. Know what I mean?
Right.
It just seems to be used a lot. So I guess I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm just hoping that this is not some sort of directive coming down from corporate saying we don't want so much, like, you know, good guys can't be killing people kind of thing, you know, because that's not how Star Wars has worked in the past. You know, the Clone Wars, even Rebels, right? I mean, so I'm hoping that's not it. What say you?
Yeah, I don't think that's it, personally.
Okay.
I think it is just that, you know, the inhibitor chip, you know, they don't know what they're doing. They're forced into it.
Right.
So that's their mindset.
Yeah.
We can find a way out of this. Maybe we can, you know, liberate everyone.
Right. So here's why I have concern. I have concern because I don't recall ever Hunter giving the order to the rest of the squad, hey, these are our brothers. You know, let's not kill them. You know, there's no need for deadly force or anything like that.
I don't even think it's necessary.
It just started happening. You know what I'm saying? I just, if you're going that route for in-universe, one sentence like that makes me say, oh, okay, I'm on board. I get it. You know, I don't want Star Wars, cartoon or not, you know, to get watered down that way. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad because they're doing it. You know, I still enjoy it.
I think the thing to consider here is that, I mean, when it comes to violence on screen, Star Wars is relatively watered down anyway.
Yeah, but sometimes it gets a little, it inches over, you know, Star Wars can dip its toe into that darkness just a little bit. In fact, it did it early on in this season, you know, when Crosshair took that squad to take out Saw's rebel force there.
Right, and that's what makes me think even more that they're not watering this down. They've done it in this season.
Those are the bad guys. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about that.
I guess that's true.
So, it's, again, I don't want to come across like I'm saying this is no good because, you know, they're not just blasting these clone troopers. I'm also coming at this from a personal point of view, right? For those who have been listening to this show for a while, you've heard Hunter on this show, right? And when he was really young, I had to do a little bit of creative wordsmithing, I guess, with his mother about him having a toy Star Wars blaster because she didn't want him to have, quote unquote, guns to play with. So, and I'm like, hey, this is a fantasy universe. This is not a gun. This is a blaster. So it's I have a little bit of a fear that there could be like a vocal part of the fan base that doesn't want too much violence, especially in a cartoon. If that were to be the case, that would bother me. It's not detracting from the show or anything, but you know, from personal experience, I could you know, I just have a little moment of hesitation there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this would be a real departure, you know, in a relatively short period of time. Because, you know, I mean, just this time, you know, 9 months ago, 9 months ago, we were watching season 7 of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Which at times got relatively dark.
Sure.
So, and even for the heroes.
Yes, absolutely, for the heroes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't personally feel like this is what's going on.
Right.
It's possible. It is possible, but I don't believe so.
Okay. Well,
I believe this is a brotherhood kind of thing.
Right.
And that's that.
Well, let's hope that, you know, your assessment is the true assessment. I truly hope so, and it very well might be that way. There was just a little part of me that was like, huh, you know. So, and that's all it really boils down to. But now I did want to make mention of something else here. Is like, there's always been this delineation between, you know, stormtroopers are a horrible shot, right? We've known this throughout Star Wars. But clone troopers have always been pretty darn good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now that they work for the Empire, they can't hit anything? I mean, it just seemed to me like there was an awful lot of blaster fire going around, and, you know, Bad Batch comes out unscathed. It's like, I know they're good, but dang. That's you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, droids didn't move as much.
Oh, I gotcha. So they had like easier targets during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I mean, the droids move real slow.
Right.
I mean, it's not like
right.
droids were like diving and dipping around stuff. These guys have completely changed up the game. They're like diving. That's not fair.
Right. Yeah.
Wait, you just rolled? What the hell is that?
Yeah, I gotcha.
This is why droid echos were so lethal.
True. Right. And they had shields, if you recall.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have got them before the shields deployed, but
Yeah.
they were rolling, and that's not normal.
Oh, that's funny. I like it. No, it's actually a pretty good explanation. You know, I like it.
They know some maneuvers, man.
Yeah. Cool.
You know, if you're used to them moving right, and all of a sudden they list lazily to the left.
Yes. You're funny.
Got them.
So, yes. You mentioned this show was very stunning. And it was...
in a very punny kind of way.
Yes, it was obvious. Like, it was clearly obvious. And, like, blatant in your face this time.
Yeah.
So
I mentioned it last week about prior weeks. There was a lot going on. But yeah, they turned that up to 11.
Yeah,
this week.
That's for sure. I mean, there was portions of this show, this episode in particular, that reminded me of like old video games, right? I mean, you're going through the streets of the city, you know, and it's like, wow, this is kind of like reminding me of you know the games. Was it Republic Commando and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Just a little bit, right? You know, it just had that feel to it. And it just didn't look right to me with all these blue rings flying everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, you know, it got the job done. And I gotta say, that Imperial officer and her troopers, they didn't stay knocked out for very long, did they?
No, not at all.
It kind of made me wonder, is like, well, how long, you know, how effective is this if it's only momentary stunning them, you know?
Well, Leia didn't wake up till like 3 hours later.
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Oh, speaking of Leia, right? You reminded me. The interrogator droid. Nice cameo there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Liked it.
I almost feel like they pulled that sound right out of...
Oh, they probably did. I imagine they did, yes.
It sounded like they pulled that sound right out of episode 4.
Right. I also like... there was 2 moments that made me think, nice, you know, nice editing here, I guess, or you know, putting the show together. We didn't see that interrogator droid deployed, right? So we still don't know exactly what it does. It has this big old syringe on there, you know. Mm-hmm. That's all we know. It looks nasty, but you know, who knows how it's deployed. And then the very end of the episode, which we didn't mention Omega yet at all, and how she turns out to be this phenomenal strategist, you know, which we learn from her playing Dejarik.
Which I gotta ask.
Yep.
How many moves can you make at a time in Dejarik?
I have no idea. Every time her opponent presses one button, and she presses like 4. So it's like,
and like they hit one character, she's like, nah, I'm getting 2 this turn.
Right.
So I know there is a version of this out somewhere where you can play it.
Okay.
Can't remember where that's at. I want to look that up and go play it.
It would be interesting.
Because are there ways to double strike? That was a new thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But an interesting new talent that we get to see out of her.
Yes. She's good at strategy.
Yeah. So the other scene that I liked that was kind of like left unfinished was the very end scene with her and Hunter sitting down at the Dejarik table getting ready to play. And it was like,
oh, that was an awesome way to kind of fade out,
to reconcile the whole episode. It was nice.
Yep.
So, you know, there again, you have Hunter trying to be protective and everything, but you know, Omega wants to be useful to the team. You know, it's, and then him realizing that later. And I like, God, you gotta love Wrecker, right?
Yep.
After Sid tells them what Omega did in paying off their debt, Wrecker's just walking away, looking at him like, "Oh, you know."
He gives him the shoulder too, like
being
bumps
so
right
mean?
into him. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, wow, you're an ass.
Yeah, Wrecker, you just gotta love him. I mean, even when they took over that walker, he's throwing these clone troopers out the door. They're gonna feel that in the morning. Oh, I love Wrecker.
Or in about 35 seconds, judging by the last group.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was funny. Just chucking them out. That scene did crack me up. They were just chucking them out the side.
I know. But yes, I don't know. This episode, it had its moments. It didn't feel as weighty as some of the other episodes, like with the bounty hunters and you know, after Omega and the Kaminoans and all that. But it did have its moments, and it had, possibly the sparks of a new overarching place for the Bad Batch to be heading down. You know what I'm saying? With this whole senator who defied the Empire. So we'll see.
Yeah, and Echo was very.
Oh yeah, I loved Echo. He's sitting there in the co-pilot seat, arms crossed. These codes might be no good. Well, the codes worked. You believe them now? No.
But Ben has a moment at the end of the episode where he tells that senator, look,
Yes.
live to fight another day.
Exactly. Yes.
So he had some growth in there.
Absolutely. But
He realized the Empire is the real enemy here.
yeah. And you think about it, I mean, it was this way for all of the Bad Batch at the beginning. It was a separatist planet? No way, not happening. And then I think that's just their deep-seated programming that they've had embedded in their head for the past 3 years or whatever it's been. Well,
Yeah.
actually since birth and then the 3 years of the war, right?
Right. I mean, you typically don't, deal with people shooting at you for, a couple years
Right.
and then go, oh, yeah, they're all right.
Yeah, it doesn't work
We should
that
help
way.
them out.
Exactly.
It's just not that simple.
But overall, I dug the episode. Like I said, not as weighty as others.
No,
I
but
think
good action. I mean,
Good
it was-
action. Yep. And could be the spark of a new story plot coming. Who knows?
Yeah, how much of that's going to go down?
Right.
So, yeah, I dug it. All right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us. show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.